saw the world from the other side, but it's alright.
Ah, something's happening.
I
It's
think
starting to. Yes, I see it.
yes,
Okay, so
yeah,
Yeah.
it say like it's change color to be blue and say stop recording. So I think
Yes.
okay, good. So maybe that's what we have to do. Have the clients turn on the.
it's see.
Normally, it should allow us to. As
Yeah, I
well.
know, but we have to get around. We just got around to this.
Oh no,
one.
yeah, no problem.
Okay.
So you're on. We're
Oh,
on.
boy. Anyway, so
Okay.
I'm gonna have to reset the timer.
Yeah.
Let's just set timer for 30 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
She's not listening.
Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
All right.
All right.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Sorry, so when you were sending things to talk about or to address on your healing circle, I did find that some of them were more, as you say, appropriate for Paranormal Report guests. So you're a guest on the Paranormal Report. So welcome.
Thank you so much ค่ะ
Okay. So I guess which story, you can start with whichever story you want to start with first. I know there was one having to do with sleep paralysis.
when I didn't sleep and people think I sleep and then I can see what going on around and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That is another one ค่ะ
That's the one actually I was thinking about, where they made a term, called sleep paralysis. If you're laying there and you're awake, but you can't, but you can't move or get up. But it sounds like a little bit different. That you were able to see what the people were doing in their apartment, but when they looked at you, it looked like you were asleep with your eyes closed. But you were able to see them, though, you say.
Yes, I be able to see them and I be able to hear them.
Okay, so it sounds like, did you feel like when you saw them, if you can remember, you were still laying down and you were looking at them or something? Or do you feel like you were walking around the room and looking at them?
I lay down and I didn't see myself walking around ค่ะ no.
Okay, so when you saw them, it was as though you were seeing them from where you were laying down.
ค่ะ yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that would be, in some sense, it's called an out-of-body experience too. Just I call them local, when you're still connected to your body, but you can see things. Your eyes are closed, and you can see what's going on, and you can hear what's being said. So that's kind of cool experience. So I would just have you just tell the story.
Okay.
Okay.
So I explain the situation again. So I have roommate and then like one night she asked me to go to sleep in another person rooms, which is I know him too because we study in the same school in high school. And so I went there with her and I like hear the story, everything from my friends before that. He just moved the apartment, like the accommodation, and the day that we arrive is the first night that he will be there. And so I went there with them and like dark already, so I'm not cannot see around everything like house look like, but in the morning I can see it look like it's old apartment. And when we get into the room, so he just looked very, like scared, like
Yeah.
nervous, and
Like
then not,
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable around, and he have like the picture of, I am not remember exactly what it looked like, but it's like a yan that we call in Thai. When people have tattoo and they believe like it's protect them and things like that. So he have that kind of the yan on uh the door inside.
So it's
And
like a protective symbol.
yes, and he also why, and like kind
So
of
he wipes
pray.
with the symbol.
Yes, and then pray too. And also on his neck and on the door he also have like the what is called um the little monk that people hang around themselves all the time. What is
Oh yeah,
called?
around the neck. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Oh,
so he have some of them on the door, and also like a few of them on his neck.
okay.
So
Now I have a question. Now this is his first night sleeping there.
yes,
So he must have known something about the apartment before he rented it.
he said he heard about it, like his friend told him, but the reason he moved there because of it's cheaper, and
Yeah,
it's also close to his friend, or his friend lived there too. I am not sure, not remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds like that it was probably a cheaper apartment too. In other words, the rent was cheap, and that's why he decided to rent it. And I understand people who have not that much money. You're a student, and so you're trying to make ends meet. What was it that you wanted me to address about this particular story? Was it that you were just kind of curious as to what was going on, or?
Oh, I just like don't know, don't understand what it is, and I just like, or maybe this is like
Yeah.
something that is come up, and then and it still have question in my mind, that what happening. And when I mentioned this to people in the past back then, so people just like don't have answer, and then they have so many answer, and only two people with me that they know it's really happened, because of I can say the word they said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, in other words, they thought you were asleep, but you were able to hear them. Um, but you were there's like a vortex or a doorway in that apartment, and that's what was going on. So the vibration of it affected you because you are sensitive, and you ended up in and out of body, what I call a local out of body. And I've experienced those, in the past, a long time ago. And so again, it has to do with things able to come in and out of that doorway. So that's what made it very, very uncomfortable. Also, I would imagine if he really knew the history, I would say that maybe two people may have died who lived
Mm,
in that apartment, and I would say that their spirits were stuck there.
ค่ะ
So now, um, when you woke up, and told them that, you could hear what they were saying, and then you told them what they were talking about. How did they feel? How did they react?
they really uncomfortable and scared,
Yeah.
like the guy even like don't want us to leave, because he don't want to stay there alone.
Hmm.
And he did ask people to come over and stay with him more, like
Hmm.
because we say no, and then he asked somebody else, and then he
Hmm.
end up moving out from there.
So he did end up moving out shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was extremely haunted. I would say the whole building that he's living in is haunted, but there was definitely what I would call a hot spot or vortex or doorway in that particular room, and there were things that were coming in and out. Now he never said exactly any what happened, other than he just felt uncomfortable. But I think there were some other things that happened, but he never told you or your friend anything else other than he was just afraid of being in the apartment.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, no stories about hearing voices or seeing things or anything like that.
I heard, I think like one guy who I know, but they don't know, used to live there too, and I heard like, but he is the one who always like not believe in the thing when people, yes, like he always like sometimes say root for whatever and everything, and he lived there and he just like he never see anything, he's fine, people just lie and things like that. But from the story like this from him, I never heard. But he said people and his friends say here is have ghosts, and then that why it's very cheap and it's never full, the apartment.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell me the detail, like like what happening or what he
So
hear.
also, he's the one who said he didn't believe in ghosts. He never
No,
told you.
different person.
Also, did the other different person
The,
stay at the apartment?
yes, another person. He is a guy who I know, but my like my friend unit don't know.
Okay,
They don't
but
know
my
him.
question, but my question is, the guy who says that he didn't believe in ghosts, did he ever stay at the apartment?
Yes, he stayed there.
And he was living in the apartment
And
also.
he said he never see anything. He not
Yeah,
believe.
but why did he leave then? So he was lying. Just to bring out. Yeah, he was lying about it. Sometimes I know with some Thai people, they want to try to be more Western, like
Yeah.
people from foreigners who claim to not believe in ghosts and so on and so forth. So they try to pretend that they think that that would be considered to be more sophisticated or more smart to not believe in ghosts. But in reality, he experienced ghosts. If he didn't believe in ghosts, he would still be renting that apartment, or he would have rented that apartment for a lot longer. The reality of the matter is that he's just faking it. I had some Thai friends in the past who were very similar. They felt because I was from the West that it was cool to say that they didn't believe in ghosts. And so when I said, no, there are such things as ghosts and all these other things that are on the other side, they're more than just ghosts on the other side. And they're like, oh, they feel uncomfortable. But then I find out later from their friend that in their house they saw actually it was a ghost cat, where it was like half of a cat that was walking around the apartment and they were all watching it. So, I think it's just something so they can try to feel like they're not backwards or ignorant to not believe in ghosts and things like that.
Yes.
When in reality, I've had someone when I was at the immigration sit next to me and he wants to talk, but actually he's trying to feed on my energy, but that's another story. And he starts with, Thai people believe in ghosts. Like, oh, those people are very ignorant, they believe in ghosts. And I said, and I just looked at him and I said, don't knock the ghost thing, dude. It's real. And they go, oh, well, because, I speak intelligently, he figured that I was just as stupid as he is. But, again, it's like concepts of what is real and what isn't, according to somebody else's ideas. People who are in denial about spirits and so on and so forth, and or just add a little bit of this to to your story. I researched a lot of ghost tales and things like that from like Wales and England and Scotland and so on and so forth. And there was a period in England, I don't know if it was in the 1800s or whatever, where this movement to deny that there were spirits or ghosts or things that were on the other side that didn't look like people, but people kept seeing them and they kept writing stories about them to the point where to this day there are still some people from England who won't admit that they believe in ghosts, but they're always looking to prove that there are ghosts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. With all that, I just said that the one guy who's talking about there's no ghosts, why didn't he stick around in the apartment then?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, with that story, we can go on to the next one that has to do with the television.
And
Oh, hold on a second.
you talked about a Thai word called or ghost tease, and like they have a word for sleep paralysis in Thai that you said was ghost tease or something like this.
Yes ค่ะ so like Thai people will say the situation that happened with me is ผีอำ so it means yeah like ผีอำ and when ผี goes and is like that tasting, so it mean like when you like ผี doing that to you to just like make fun or like
okay.
cannot make not make you cannot move and then just kind of like that.
Oh, okay. Well, in reality, when they're doing that, it's really they're feeding. I used to have that happen quite a bit when I was quite a bit younger, where I would wake up in my mind, and then I won't try to move, and I can't move, but I can hear everything that was going on around me in the room. I think I even have a story in my book where the first time that I had experienced it, I was maybe 16 years old or something, and I tried to wake up, and or tried to get up. I woke up, but I tried to get up, and I couldn't, and my eyes were closed. But I could hear the rest of my family in the kitchen talking and so on, and that kind of sound was kind of early for them to be, so active in the morning. And so anyway, it felt like at one point when I tried to get up, I just relaxed and I felt like I was falling. And it's like these lights were flashing, like I was falling down an elevator shaft and all the doors, were open. So it was like like that. And then at one point, I focused on trying to move one part of my body, and I tried to move my hand, and then said, oh, I can't move my whole hand. So I decided, okay, I'm going to focus on the smallest thing I can, which is my little finger. And then when I moved my little finger, I came out of it like that. And when I woke up, it was, just early, not much noise going on. But 5 minutes later, while I was in that state, I heard someone talk about one of our little pets. We had a hamster. Oh, the hamster got out, and then there's all this little noise like they're chasing after the hamster. And so when I woke up, it was quiet, and about 2 or 3 minutes later, the exact same noise happened. The hamster's out, and then the exact same noise. Them running, trying to catch the hamster. So some kind of weird time thing or whatever happened when I was in that state. So it has to do with actually just drifting into other dimensions. And yes, there are things that can put you in, in a sleep paralysis like that. But if you're doing, your containments and things like that, it can happen. But anyway, thanks for the definitions for the words like the P.1-A that they consider to be ghost teasing you.
It's very good. It's a much clearer explanation for what's happening than sleep paralysis.
Yeah, it is actually. I mean, I think that sleep paralysis is another way that the West tries to minimize what's going on and remove it from actually that you're dealing with things on the other side. I don't know why, well, I do know why, the system or the density tries to poo-poo the idea that there are things that go on the other side that are actually very, very real. Because I believe, I know that they influence everything on this side. Everything that people do is influenced from the other side. And they don't want you to know that a lot of things that happen in your life are things that are not very nice, or you feel like that bad luck has to do with them and what they're doing. Even things like accidents have to do with what they're doing. And it all has to do with one thing. All has to do with feeding on the essence of the people, in this world.
ค่ะ
Okay.
อืม
Anything else, Ms. A?
No, gee.
All right. We can go to the next story, about the TV. Is that it?
Yes, Chief.
yes ค่ะ
So explain that one.
so when I was young, and before I go to bed, I will sleep on the floor in front of the TV, because my grandma unit will be there, and I sleep with her. So I always like fall asleep before we go to bed, and then I will feel myself like wake up and feel nervous, because of every time when I feel asleep, I feel like I'm traveling in like to somewhere that I can see kind of like color, many colors, and then I wake up and I try to not sleep again, because of it feel really real, and I think I gonna go somewhere else. And I don't know, like I pick up the color from the TV, and then just like, when sleep, and then I just see that thing, and yeah, so I still like still remember the feeling. So yeah, so that's why I just want to mention this to be like, do what happened, or I just like see the color from the TV.
Oh, okay. Well,
Huh.
I definitely not. You weren't seeing the color from the TV. Now, you didn't feel like there was some other people or something
No,
where you were going. It was
No.
getting there.
No.
They're starting to talk
no,
and sleep. So, did you feel? Do you remember if you felt like you just felt uncomfortable? But actually, when you were traveling, did you feel like you were floating or walking?
Flow, huh?
You were floating.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
not, yeah.
when you saw colors, if you just relax your mind for a bit. Now we're going to go to the memory. Now, if you're floating, was there more than one color? Okay. Still there? You still on?
yes, I think.
Wait, light.
Yes,
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, whoa. Wow, good.
All right. So when you were floating, did you see more than one color?
yes.
Okay. Now, did it feel like sometimes you were between the colors? Like there were almost like waves, or I don't know if you've ever seen some of the Chinese fabric dancing. They use big sheets of fabric, and and they make
Yeah.
it flow like, was it similar to that? Right? Yes. Okay, we're getting close here. It's starting to purge, and they start to impact these guys. I think we might actually do a little muscle testing for this one. It seems to be quite a bit more activity around this one than the first story. So, Ms. A, can you, if you want to get set up
Yes.
while because what you're experiencing is something that I experienced when I was maybe 8, 9 years old, when I was a kid. and I would go to bed, and I would lay on my back, and then I would start to feel myself floating, and then I would find myself floating, like I don't know where I was going, but there would be like these colors like moving, like flowing, and sometimes I'm in between two different colors. Sometimes I go through, like if you're, like a dolphin jumping out of the water, kind of, and then back into the water. So I would flow like that, and that's literally you were experiencing the other side. But we're going to muscle test, so I can give a little bit more detail because I haven't really even thought about this experience, and I don't even know if I even wrote that one in my book in quite some time. So, are you ready, Mizzou? Okay, we're gonna get ready.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm gonna clear the protection, Ms. A first. Okay. Right. Arm. Okay. I'm trying to clear. Release. 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 Now coming up. Okay. The purge. Nose. And rinse it. And with these guys, it's really coming up strong for some reason. And let me know if this affects you too. I may have to wake you up again after I do this. Okay. Come on. Remove density. Awaken light. Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go. All right. So I would say that the verification for the arm, of course, with the yes, it'll go down. If it's a no, it won't. I'll try to push it, and the arm will go down. So I would say that you were definitely floating in another dimension. I believe that you have like the ability to see the other side. Perhaps you've shut some of it down.
Oh.
And they're all upset about it. So the tools to make it okay, good purging. Second, let me handle these guys. Please. Please. Okay. Awaken light. Back again. Sleep. Power down. So you saw pipes, and that they're restricting the flow of energy. Restrict the flow of energy. Got a yes. So we will deal with that. And
Whoa.
come on. Remove. So we will deal with that that part during the healing circle.
Thank you.